Okay, so here is your math message to begin today's lesson. The principal is ordering snack-sized bags of pretzels. 9 cartons contain 540 bags. How many bags come in a carton? Write an equation with a letter for the unknown to show your work. So at this point, not even worried about you solving it yet. I'm just worrying about you setting it up correctly. What would this look like in an equation? And the answer, let's use x for our variable. Go ahead and solve that if you can, but at least see if you can get the equation down. What would this look like? I'm going to pause the video here while you do that. Okay, let's take a look at one way that you might have written that equation. And one way you might have done that was to take the number of bags divided by the number of cartons, and that would give you the answer that you're looking for. And I'm going to pause the video for a moment to take a look at some of the solutions that folks came up with and see if anybody actually solved that equation. Okay, so we've talked about a solution, but I want to go over one here, and that is to say that division is directly related to multiplication. It's called an inverse operation. Just kind of means the opposite. So here we have 540 divided by 9 equals x. Well, if I took this number x times 9, that would give me the answer of 540. So I'm going to try and solve it using using that information. So I know that x times 9 is going to give me 540. What number times 9 equals 540? Well, is there a number times 9 that equals 54? Because if there is, then I can use my knowledge of tens to help me solve for x. And there is. Okay, so 9 times 6 equals 9 times 60 equals 540. Okay, so there's our solution. We know now what x is equal to. Okay, but before we move on a little bit, I want to talk about the labels that are necessary that we need to know when it comes to a division problem. Okay, and the first one is this part right here. Okay, it's the big group that we've got of pretzels. Okay, and we're dividing that into 9, or we're dividing 9 into that because we want to know how many there are in each carton. But this number is called the dividend. And this number, the 9, is the divisor. Okay, so the dividend is the big number, the group, large group, and the divisor is, in this case, the smaller number that we are trying to determine how many times does this number go into the dividend. And then we will come up with an answer, hopefully. And our answer is called the quotient. Okay, and if we set this up in another way, okay, a lot of times when we divide, we use that for our division symbol. 540 divided by 9, and so, and that will equal 60. And again, here is our dividend inside the box. Here is our divisor to the left. And here's our quotient, which is the answer to our division problem. So I want to take a couple minutes to further explain, further look at this relationship between division and multiplication. Okay, So one of the things we need to understand, okay, is we're taking this 540, dividing it by 9 to see how many are in each box. So how many groups of 9 go into 540, and that will tell me how many bags are in each box. But we also should understand that when we get our answer, that 9 times 60, okay, these two numbers will multiply together to give us our dividend. And since it's multiplication, we can flip these around. 60 times 9 should also equal 540. Now, it doesn't work the same way with division. We cannot flip these two around. We can't say that 9 divided by 540 equals 60. But we can flip these two around again. Okay, and we can say, keeping our dividend the same, we can say 540 divided by 60 should give us 9. In other words, what if I knew the number of bags and said, well, how many cartons would I need? Okay, I'm still going to come up with the same number of bags per carton. And if we look at this big picture right here, what we see is a fact family. Okay, and this is an important relationship between division and multiplication that is really going to come into play when we start solving more division problems. Okay, before we move on, I want to do a quick review of multiplying numbers that are multiples of 10, because that's going to be an important skill that we're going to have if we're going to be successful with division. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Let's do 90 times 4. And so we know that 9 times 4 is equal to 36. So we got 9 times 4 is equal to 36. But 90, which is 9 times 10, right? Okay, so 9 times 4 is 36, but then we got this 10 that we have to deal with. And with multiplication, we can do it in any order. So what we're doing is we're just saying, okay, 9 times 4 is 36. Then we're going to multiply by the 10 to get 360. And we multiply the 10 up here because that's 90. Let's take a look at one more real quick. Let's do 400 times 7. Okay, and so we break that 400 down into 4 times 100 times 7. And we're just going to do the 4 times 7 first, which is 28. And when we multiply by 100, okay, 100 is 10 times 10, so we're going to add 2 zeros, and that's convenient. There are 2 zeros here. We add 2 zeros here. So 400 times 7 is equal to 2800. Now let's see how that relates to division. And so let's start with the top one. So I'm going to take my 360, okay, and I'm going to divide that by 4. And so I know that 4 goes into 36 9 times, okay, but I have a 0 here. So 4 goes into 360 90 times. I divide that 4 into the 360, okay, but then if I have a 0 here, I need a 0 somewhere in these two numbers because I'm going to multiply them together to get this number, and it goes on the 90 in my answer. I'm not going to add the 0 here because it's not there. Okay, and the inverse is true, or we can flip those two around, and if I divide this one by 90, okay, 9 goes into here 4 times, 90 goes into here 4 times is to 360. Okay, 9 goes into 36, 90 goes into 360 4 times. Got that inverse operation. And the same thing for this problem, 2800 divided by 7. Okay, 7 goes into 28 4 times. I have 2 zeros here. I need to add 2 zeros here. And 2800 divided by 400 equals 4 goes into 28 7 times. Got 2 zeros here. I already have my 2 zeros here, so it's just 7. Okay, so using that information, your assignment for the next few minutes is Student Journal page 191. Go ahead and get that out and begin. I'm going to pause the video and then we'll take a quick look at how that should look. As soon as you get them out, go ahead and begin. Okay, so here's our Student Journal page, and let's see if we can't quickly go over this to check your work. 24, now again, let's look at the directions. Write a basic division fact and an extended division fact for each fact triangle. So remember, fact triangles work both ways, so we got 8 times some number would give us 240, but 240 divided by 8 is going to give us this missing number here, and they're asking for the division fact. So they're giving us an example, showing us an example here. What that would look like. 24 divided by 8 is the basic fact, so they're just taking the 0 off. Okay, and then they're giving us the extended fact with the 0 back on. Okay, so 24 divided by 8 is 3. So 240 divided by 8 is 30. Okay, and in this one, 28 divided by 4 equals 7. So 280 divided by 4 is 70. And take the 0 off here. 56 divided by 8 equals 7. And 56, or 560 divided by 8 is 70. Okay, the basic, now we got to take a 0 off here and here to get our basic fact. Okay, so 72 divided by 9 equals 8. 720 divided by 90 also equals 8. Okay, because remember, we already have our 0 here, and if we have our necessary zeros, then we don't add a 0 here again. Okay, so here we've got 4,800 divided by 6. Okay, the basic fact, 48 divided by 6, which equals 8. And now I've got 4,800 divided by 6. When I my basic fact and divide it, I've got 2 zeros left over still. Okay, so that means I have to add 2 zeros here. Okay, let's go up to this one for a second. If I take 72 divided by 9, my basic fact, I have a 0 left over here, but it's canceled out by this 0 here. That's why there's only an 8 here. Okay, and I need to go, I guess I need to show you the work on that last one. Okay, so there we go. So here's our basic fact, 48 divided by 6. And when we take away the basic fact, we have 2 zeros. And since they're not any of them here, we need to make sure they go in our answer. Okay, here we have 63 divided by 9 as our basic fact, which equals 7. And again, let's cover up this and this. 2 zeros left. There's nothing here to cancel any of those out, so they're going to go in our answer. So 6,300 or 6,300 divided by 9 equals 700. All right. And we talked about the strategy as we solved it. So there's our workbook, page 191.